Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to, as usual, an impromptu video. I hope you've all got through the week well. I hope you're all tearing towards the weekends and doing whatever you're going to be doing and enjoying it in the process. I'm doing all right, thank you. Bit bunged up, to be honest with you. I had a rough couple of days. Feeling slightly better today, but only slightly. Hopefully I'll feel a bit better tomorrow because I'm due to be meeting a friend, a long overdue meeting with Deborah. So regards to you, Deborah, if you get a chance to watch this, for a catch up and all that. The reason why I'm doing this video, very briefly, I'm aware that I've got to keep it under 15 minutes, otherwise I can't get it up on Facebook. They limit you to 15-minute videos now, you see. There you go. So the reason why I'm bringing you this video, and I wanted to do it a couple of days early, but I wasn't feeling well enough, is that we had a Flat Earth Social this Tuesday just gone. As we do on the last Tuesday of every month, apart from next month, December, we won't have one because it collides with the whole Christmas period. So the next Flat Earth Social will be the 28th of January, Tuesday the 28th of January at 7 p.m. at the British House Hotel in Ferndown on the fringes of Bournemouth. I'll be doing a talk on that one, and I'll be talking about old world stuff and the timeline, and specifically the so-called Victorian Restoration. Interesting. But anyway, getting back to this. So on this Tuesday just gone, we had a couple of guests beamed in via a Zoom-esque call. One was called Jaron Campanella. The other was called Austin Whitsitt. Both of them have been in and around the Flat Earth community and the research community now for many years. Jaron, I remember seeing quite a few of his bits and bobs when I first got into this whole topic about 7 or 8 years ago. Austin, I kind of spoke to myself a few times in the past when I used to run a Discord channel a few years ago to accompany the Global Eye Euro Tour, and I've since seen him kind of grow in stature, if you like, by taking on the mantle of, a spokesperson who stands out front and lets himself be heard and known. So kudos to anybody who has not only the courage and everything else, but also the time to do that. I know how difficult that can be myself, to try and juggle that up with your everyday life, because you still have lives to lead, right? Anyway, and the purpose for their attending virtually, technologically, the Flat Earth Social was for a bit of a Q&A regarding the so-called final experiment. The so-called final experiment is basically a trip to a place called Antarctica, where there'll be a couple of mainstream globe-believing people and a couple of, I don't like the phrase, but flat earthers. And they'll go down there, and what will happen is they basically, I said down there, see, I'm already making mistakes. I'll explain more in a minute. But basically they're going to go to Antarctica and then observe the luminaries, specifically the sun. And basically, if there is a 24-hour sun, then it basically, and I said basically 3 times there, it basically 4 times there, kills the Flat Earth AE model, because that's all it would do, would kill that, really. It certainly wouldn't kill off Flat Earth, because you need a Flat Earth to carry out all your measurements to eventually get your globe models in the first place. And of course, if they don't see a 24-hour sun, then what? You still don't learn any more about the Earth that you stood on. But anyway, that's the false dichotomy that is in play here, whereby they're going to go down, observe the sun. I do believe that they are staying for 4 days. I think they're flying somewhere, I don't even know where to, and then they're boating it or whatever to their specific location where they're going to be, and then they're going to have certain equipment with them and this, that, and the other. I mean, I don't know how much equipment they're allowed to take with them. I don't know how much equipment is going to be there waiting for them, if any, because you have to buy your way onto these sorts of trips. And my understanding is that they're very, very controlled, these trips. You can't just willy-nilly get on a ship and go, let's go that way. They are very controlled. You can go to certain places and then turn back and go back. And that's if you even know where you are in the first place, because you're relying totally on your technology, of course. You your GPS systems and whatever it is you're using, which all require a flat Earth, by the way. They will tell you, they'll give you readings of degrees and stuff like that, but will you for sure know? No, you won't. You'll only be relying on the equipment that you've got. That's it. Just like somebody at flight control, when there's a rocket launch for NASA, only looks at numbers and figures in their computer monitor, never looks at anything real, right? So basically, they look at things that can be manipulable and definitely simulated, most definitely, and they are, because they have to be, because space is fake too, because you can't have a vacuum next to a gas pressure system. So without containment, or without a barrier. So basically that's what's happening. So they're going down there, they're doing a trip. I'm not even too sure when this is lined up for. I know it's being financed by somebody who has appeared from nowhere, certainly for me has appeared from nowhere, a guy called Duffy. It's tens of thousands of dollars each to go down there and make this trip for 4 days, stay somewhere and then come back. I think Jaron said something about staying in tent-like setups. I do believe they also do have, scarce though it may be, they do have a little bit of a support element there in terms of doctor, dentist, that sort of thing. But that's about it. I don't know much more than that. I don't know whether they are, well, where they are with their preparation in terms of physical fitness, if they are doing anything at all in terms of physical fitness, things like building up like a fitness regime and stuff like that to prepare yourself physically and thus also mentally, because a healthy body is a healthy mind, before you go to very, very hostile regions of our Earth. Jaron is based in California, Austin is based in Florida. They're both definitely not polar regions. So there's all sorts of things to think of before one embarks on such a journey and undertaking. And of course, like I said a bit cynically earlier, how the heck do you even know where you really are in all of this? How would you know? You can look out your window and see a bit of ice, see some polar bears, see some penguins, experience very cold climates. Great. Do you know where you are exactly? No, you don't. You can't. The only way you could is to go so high up that you could then fix your camera back downwards and you could see and plot the route you just made to get to wherever you are, your final position, where you're then taking your readings to look to see if there's a 24-hour sun in the sky or not. And if there is or isn't, doesn't matter. Makes no odds when it comes to the ground beneath your feet, or beneath your feet even. So whilst it's an intriguing idea, I personally think it's very misleading. I'm not saying they are misleading us, per se, by the way. I'm just saying that the notion of going to a region that's only called Antarctica because that's what it's called on a globe. It's not Antarctica if you're not using a globe model, right? So that in itself is already flawed. Down where? We're not going down anything either. You're going out and across. We're on a level plane, right? But there's so many little questions. Now, I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to be ultra critical of it because A, I don't know enough about it, and B, I've got too many other things going on that occupy my life that are way more important. Because any outcomes that they think they're going to get, whoever's taking part in that is not just Jaron and Austin, is not going to change what we already know and what we already observe and what we already feel and to be true. So, I wish anybody who's embarking on a journey like that with lots of unknowns and variables all the best. Get to wherever you're going to safely and return safely if possible. But I'm not holding out any hope for anything of significance to come of any of this. If it goes ahead at all, by the way. And I'm not saying that because I don't believe people per se, but I just feel that the preparations are nowhere near to where they should be if you're going to be doing something like this. Bearing in mind there's also somebody taking part who won it on an online quiz or selection process very recently, only a few weeks ago. I remember coming across it when it was broadcast on a YouTube channel. I've forgotten whose channel it was now. But yeah, I don't know. Certainly if I was doing something like that, you wouldn't be able to shut me up about it. I'd be talking about it all day, every day, until the moment arrived to get on that plane and fly out there, wherever it is they're flying. But there you go. So that was what we were discussing on Tuesday, was asking Jaren and Austin some questions about the so-called final experiment. Well, it's neither final nor is it an experiment. But hey-ho, that's what it's been called. I suppose to add a bit of drama to it. But there's nothing dramatic about it at all. So I would say, yeah, crack on and let's know what you found down there, or up there, or across there, or whatever. I still make the same mistakes as well with the words. But yeah, there you go. In the words of Jaren, he said that he hopes to get pieces of data out of his trip to add to the already existing knowledge, which is fair enough. You know, you're not going to be able to prove or disprove the Earth we stand on by looking at the sun anyway, so it doesn't matter. Because we don't even know how the sun and the moon and all those luminaries in the sky actually work mechanically, do we? We have no idea. There might be a section of elites somewhere way above, very, very high out there, who know about the makeup and mechanical setup of our realm. But apart from that, no, I don't think so. There you go. So that was I think that video, the actual event, if you like, of Jaren and Austin was filmed. So I'm presuming Ian will release that on the Flat Earth Social YouTube channel soon. So look out for that. I haven't seen anything back. But yeah, I mean, there were a couple of quite interesting questions. I had a couple of questions, but I didn't get around to asking them because other people also had questions, which is fair enough. You know, and I certainly wasn't there, and I don't think anybody was, to be fair, to try and trip anybody up or lure them into a sort of a trap with sort of catch out questions and stuff like that. Absolutely not. I think people are genuinely quite interested, excuse me, to see how anybody's going about such an undertaking. You know, and that starts by the naming of it, doesn't it? What are you even calling this adventure? The final experiment, it most certainly is not. That is for sure. Okay, I just wanted to say that in December, the Flat Earth Social will not be because of the Christmas period. People will be off with their families and all that sort of stuff, and rightly so. So the next one will be January the 28th, on a Tuesday, of course, at 7 p.m. at the Bridge House Hotel. I'll be hosting and presenting that evening, where I'll be talking about the old world stuff, in particular our timeline, our recent timeline, especially the bit that in the history books is called the Victorian Restoration. If anybody doesn't know about that, as a little taster, the Victorian Restoration is a period in the 1800s during the course of Queen Victoria's reign where they basically restored all churches and church-like buildings throughout England and Wales. But I'll go into that further when I do my talk in January. That's about it. So I'm going to leave that there. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you all have a lovely weekend. I hope you all stay wrapped up if it's cold where you are, you know, and enjoy it. And yeah, thank you, like I said. And I will see you all soon, some of you sooner. Until then, take it all easy and ta-ta for now.